Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the August bass fishing report for Arizona. We're a little bit later in August here, but I actually was out of town quite a bit in early August, so I didn't want to give you guys a report that wasn't like actual current information. I've been out on the water over the past week quite a bit, so got some real stuff for you guys, and wanted to wait until I had that to share. Before we go into the fishing report as well, make sure that you guys are subscribed to the channel if you're not already, and let you guys know that this video is brought to you by Hatch Toyota and Signature Gate Systems. So to get right into it, fishing has kind of taken a little bit of a turn on a lot of the lakes. Now, there are definitely plenty of good days to be had, but it's not the easy, amazing, consistent fishing that we've had, through May, June, July. Things have, kind of not hit a wall, but they've gotten a little bit shaky. You can go out and have a great day one day, and the next day it can be a lot tougher. If you know what to look for, and stay patient, you can have some really good days. But again, don't beat yourself up if you go out there and have a little bit tougher day, because that's just bound to happen. Those fish are starting to position a little bit differently. They're moving around. And I'll tell you one crazy thing. Every lake is so different right now. In these central Arizona lakes, you go from one lake to the next, you can't take those same patterns and depths that you were using on one and use it on the next. It's amazing to see the differences between all of these lakes. The fish, a couple lakes are shallow, a couple lakes that are in between, and a couple lakes that are super deep. So let's dive right into it. I always like to start with the Salt River chain, so we're going to start at the top, work our way down. Roosevelt's been mediocre. I'll give you that. I'll say that. The fish are using a lot of different depths. If you want to fish shallow, you can catch some fish on top waters, moving baits like little swim baits, jerk baits, stuff like that. If you're throwing top water, I like to throw a bait that you can cover some water with, especially right now. So that's either going to be a buzz bait or something like a Berkeley Chopo, but something that you can cover some ground with until you find those fish. And that top water bite, to me, isn't necessarily an all-day deal. I think early is going to be better, or possibly later in the evening, but early in the morning is definitely going to be your best bet. The all-day topwater bite is coming. It's coming soon, but we just haven't quite hit it, in my opinion, yet. Give it another few weeks. You'll be able to throw that topwater all day and catch them. But you can catch. I was up there last Saturday. We caught a lot of our fish drop shotting in 20 to 30 feet of water, so a little bit deeper than I would typically look right now. The fish are about to. They went from being at kind of a consistent deal where they're really loving that 20-foot range, and some are going to move shallower as some shad push shallow, and some are going to go very deep. We're going to blink, and it'll be October, and you're going to have fish on the bank, not much in between, and then fish out in 30, 40 feet that you can catch spooning. We're kind of hitting that interesting time of year where they're starting to make that move. So, if you're not catching fish, the best thing I can just say is just keep moving. Keep moving, keep an open mind out there, because there's different ways to catch them. But, and there's a lot of ways to catch them, but it's going to be hard to go out there and catch 40 fish right now, in my opinion. It's just not quite as good and consistent as it was a month ago, or as good as it'll be here in a month and a half. So that's Roosevelt. Apache's been the hottest lake over the last while. It's really good right now. You can catch a lot of fish, and the whole lake's fishing good. Up Lake was really known to be the hot spot over a lot of the summer, but as you go all the way down to the other dam, there's fish all the way in between. Last time I was up there, we caught fish on pretty much every place we visited. Literally caught bass everywhere we went. Mainly on plastics, but again, keep an open mind to throw that top water. You can get a big bite throwing a big crankbait. You could do, something like a Berkeley dredger. The 15 dime is a really good one, fishing the breaks off of the flats, the main lake point, stuff like that. But steep stuff with the drop shot is probably the most consistent way to catch fish, even up till right now. Canyon, have not been out there much. As usual, hit or miss. You can you go out in there and catch a giant. If you want to take that chance, you're not going to be fishing around too many other people, so that's a great thing, to be able to go out there and have a lake to yourself. But you also can go out there and not catch a ton of fish, so it's kind of a high risk, high reward type deal going to Canyon, but a I would never suggest against it, because your personal best could be waiting for you out there. And, you know, if I was going to canyon right now, I'd still kind of be looking shallow. I'd be fishing shallow, maybe fishing some steeper walls and stuff like that. Personally, I wouldn't go much out past 15 or 20 feet, just knowing with what's going on at Saguaro. I don't know how many of you all have been out at Saguaro lately, but that place has, it's been real hit or miss. I went out fishing with Johnny Johnson, filmed an episode last week. You guys will see it here on Channel 3 here coming up in about a week or two. And we really had to work for him. We ended up having a decent day, but we had to work for him, ended up catching a few on walls, and then caught the rest off of one spot, mainly on a drop shot. We were, you know, we tried a little bit of cranking in the morning, but really our goal was to get the show done before it got insanely hot. And you'll see we made some adjustments. I don't want to spoil the show, obviously. That's the most important thing, especially, you know, for Johnny for having me on. I appreciate that. So make sure that you guys keep your eye out for that. That'll be on Channel 3, like I said, in a week or two. And so probably like the first week of September, you'll see that episode pop out. And we had fun, as always, and we made a decent day out of it for sure with the adjustments we made. With the water's clear, I'll say this, it's clear as I've seen it on Saguaro in a while. The algae's completely gone, and the water quality is good. The fish are just spread out. There's a lot of fish that are starting to get up and chase shad, and just watching your electronics, you can see schools of bass and wolf packs of bass all over the lake. On the flats, in the open water, in the middle of the lake, chasing these shad. So what does that do? It makes it tougher for all, you know, a lot of the guys that are just going to go down and beat the banks. Like, there's still a few fish on the banks, but a lot of these fish are in open water chasing shad. So it's like, hey, you're just not casting at as many fish as you would be as if they were all on the banks. Like I said, I think, you know, the fish, once they get on these shad, it can be tricky. They're eating well, they're happy and healthy, but you've really got to keep an eye out and stay on them and be patient. You know, if you fish a spot and they're just not quite set up right, don't be afraid to go back and fish it a few hours later. That's kind of what happened to us the other day. Fished a spot, caught one, but saw some fish. Well, we came back 3 hours later and caught a bunch of fish off of that spot. So something to keep in mind. Sliding over to some of the other lakes, Bartlett, had a guide trip out there not too long ago, a few days ago, and fishing was good. Fishing was good. Same thing though, those fish are in open water chasing bait. You know, we started, you know, fishing the banks, doing a little cranking, throwing a drop shot, and we caught some fish, but it wasn't great. Wasn't seeing a ton on live scope, you know, caught a couple on points, caught a couple on steeper banks, and that sun came up, and you know, we ended up picking up a topwater, and we caught a bunch of fish on a topwater in the middle of the day. You know, it's funny, I just talked about how the lakes are all different right now, but lots of fish boiling, chasing on bait. You know, you'll be sitting there on a spot, casting to the bank, and they start boiling on shad behind you over 100 feet of water. Have that topwater on the deck ready, throw it out there, and you'll catch them. It was pretty fun. Caught them all on a clear topwater bait. It was a great morning. We fished till about 11 o'clock, and they were biting up until about 10:30. It was a great morning. Pleasant, you know, fishing's been really good out there. The big striper are biting deep, you know, on the spoons and stuff like that. If you've got kids or whatever and they can't throw the big flutter spoon, anchovies are a good way to catch those fish. Cut the head off, cut the tail off, send it down on a big drop shot rig, and you know, you don't have to do anything fancy, but if you're like me and that's not really your thing, the big spoon's the way to catch them. You know, graph them up, idle around till you see them, drop that spoon down and hang on. The bass are good out there too. You know, there's some fish that you can catch shallow throwing topwater, but there's still a lot of fish out on that deep structure, the classic deep structure out there. So throw some type of drop shot color that looks like a crawfish, and you know, fish that deep main lake and you know, main creek type structure, and you're going to catch plenty of bass doing that as well if you're not into the stripers. I'm trying to think if there's any other lakes that I've got intel on. Not really. I have not been over the Colorado River, so I apologize. I know a lot of you guys that fish Havasu and Mojave and stuff, you guys tune in hoping I talk about your lake. If I said anything, it would just be, I would just be going off of what I thought was going on. So I really don't want to comment on those lakes this week because I just don't have anything current. I haven't talked to any buddies that have been fishing over there or anything like that. So sorry. I am going to be at Meade here in the next couple of weeks. So I'll have some Colorado River stuff regarding Meade. And then again, October, Mojave. I'm going to try to slide over to Havasu a couple times this fall. So hopefully I'll get some stuff for you Colorado River guys soon. But for right now, Central Arizona, that's kind of what's going on. Appreciate you guys tuning in and being patient. I know it's been a little over a month since my last report, but yeah, I just had a lot going on. And again, wanted some current stuff. So appreciate you all, and we'll be back at you guys soon. Thanks.